In this video, I'm going to show you how to loop like a beginner, an improver, and a pro. You're going to learn techniques like this. Then we're going to increase the difficulty and show you how to loop like this. Then we're going to go all out and do it like the pros, like this.
Come around.
Okay, beginners, let's talk about the fundamentals of looping, how to set them, and what they actually mean. If you're an improver or you're a pro, just skip using the timestamps to where you think you are. But all the beginners, let's just talk about the basics. So you can loop in two different ways. You can use the loop controls at the top of a standard DJ Flex 4 or any beginner controller, or you can use the beat effects down here. I'll show you how to do both of them. So on this track here, if I wanted to set a loop, I can press in and then press out, and it's as simple as that. This is a 4-beat loop. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. We can use these parameters to halve the loop. So that's 2 beats. Now 1 beat, half beat, quarter beat, and we can exit using this button here. We can also do it on the parameters down here. So if we go back to the beginning of this track, open up these beat parameters, and you can see on the controls here, inside of Recordbox, we've got the different loop parameters. If I press play and I select 1 beat, you can see it's represented on screen here. I've got 2 beats, half beat, quarter beat. There's one more fundamental control you need to know as a beginner, which is loop tightening using the loop controls up here. So if I press play, I'll set a 1-beat loop, and then we can press the out or the in button. I'll press the out button. Then using a jog wheel, I can start to tighten this loop. And if I go forwards, it'll extend the loop longer. And this is where you'll hear the pros creating tension before a big build up or a drop. Something like that. So as a beginner, how can you start to use looping? Well, one way would be to extend a mix. When you start DJing, maybe you're playing electronic music, maybe you're playing open format, you might be working with a lot of radio edits. So we've got 2 radio tracks here, Around and Energy, and they don't have typical intros. If I play the Energy track here from the beginning, you can see there's no kick drum, there's not a big long 32 beats intro, so it's quite difficult to mix this in, especially if you're a beginner DJ. And similarly with this song Around, it ends quite abruptly. There's not like a long 64 beats where you can mix out of. It sort of ends quite dramatically and then just tails off. So one way we can use looping is to create an intro or create an outro. So what we can do is we can look through this track energy, and towards the end of the track here, if I skip through, so we've got a little bit of instrumental here. We've got about 32 beats. So what I can do on here is we can just pause it there. We'll set a cue point. So if I just delete these cue points for now, I'll set a cue point on the end here. I like to set the outros on the final cue point on this Flex 4. So we've got the start of our outro here. Then what I want to do is go and set a cue point on where we can start the track from. So there's no point having a cue point set up here because it's silence. What I really want to do is, when I'm mixing this track in, I really want it to drop in from here. So I'm going to delete that first cue point, and then I'm going to set a cue point here. Now the idea is to be playing this track. We can open up our beat loop, which is shift and beat jump here. We can set 16 beats. So this is going to loop every 16 beats. So it's a nice instrumental drum loop, and this will go infinitely now. So what we can then do, if we time it right, we want to have the quantize on. We'll talk about that in a second. If we go 1, 2, 3, 4, all of a sudden we've created our own intro to this track, which we can then use to mix in to our track around on deck number 1. So the reason we turned quantize on is to help with timing. Quantize will help the beats stay on time. Whereas if you were to do it without quantize, you would have to rely on pressing the cue point perfectly on beat. The quantize is basically referencing all of these grid markers here. So you can see on a standard track, you've got these little white markers, and then the red marker will show every 4 beats. So the quantize will make sure that it stays on them beats. All right, so we've got our hot cues set up. Now, how do we mix in? So using fundamentals of DJing, we need the BPMs of the tracks to be the exact same. So we're gonna go for 106. I'll try and get it dead on. 106.01, don't worry about the 01. So when do we need to mix in? So let's go to the end of the track around. So that's where it starts to, this is the final drop basically. It's the big impact final drop. And then it kind of carries on. So what I want to do is I'm going to go here to this track, and then I'm going to set up our loop. So we're going to go open up our beats. You can do it on the screen if you want to, or on your controller. I'm going to set a 16 beat loop here. We could do 32 as well, or we can do 16. Either will work. So now we need to think about, okay, we need to be ready to, on a turn of phrase, when this drops in, trigger our next track. So as this is building up, we've got our BPMs matched. Pressing play on phrase. I'm just going to cut the lows. I'm going to start to mix in. Let's start to just swap out these low ends. So bringing in the lows on deck number 2, removing them on deck number 1. 1, 2, 3, 4. And that allows for a seamless transition using looping to extend a radio edit track, which comes in really useful when there's not an intro in the beginning. By the way, if you want to practice these skills and unlock even more tricks, we've built a completely free looping course with tutorials, downloadable tracks, and different challenges. So you can go grab it now. The link is in the description. It's totally free. Go and sign up and get the free looping course. Okay, let's move on to the improver. We're just going to increase the skill level slightly, and we're going to use a feature called active loops. So we've got 2 tracks here. We've got Undulating on deck number 1, and we've got Pump by Chris Lorenzo, the AC Slater remix, on deck number 2. Now, one key to creating really good loops is trying to find tracks that have what we call isolated vocals. So if I play you this Pump track, it's got this great little 4-beat vocal section, which we can do loads and loads of creative stuff with. So this section here, so we can do a lot with that and get really creative. So what we're going to do is we're going to set 3 different active loops. An active loop is basically just like a hot cue. You can jump to it at any time, but it will trigger the loop. So what I'll do is I'll delete the ones that I have and I'll show you where we're going to set them. So first of all, we're going to set a 4-beat loop and we're going to save them. So the first one is this. So we've got a 4-beat loop, and I like to set my active loops on the bottom 4 rows, and I like my hot cues on the top 4 rows. So all we do is, so that is now set. So no matter where I am in the track, I can press this, and it will automatically loop. Now we're going to set 3 different active loops. That's the first one. The second one is a 2-beat loop on a different section. We're going to loop it from here, where it says Pump Me Up. So we've got a 2-beat loop. And the final one is just the final beat, a 1-beat loop, just before the drop. And that's it. So we've got 3 active loops there set, and we've got this one, 4 beats. We've got a 2-beat and a 1-beat. So without anything happening on deck number 1, we can already start to think about a pattern that we might use to create a routine using loops. So we can go, so that's all good. We've got our active loop set. Now, how do we create a transition out of that? So we've got a hot cue set on a long build-up of a track. So this track, Undulating, it's got a really nice long build-up, so that when we're coming into this track, so as this track's building up, the audience thinks the drop's coming in, but we're gonna use this active loop technique and bring in the next track. So instead of that drop coming in, we're actually going to be bringing in our next track. So we've got our hot cue set up, and both tracks are on 128 BPM. We've got our active loop. So as this track's building up, you can either do the first one manually or trigger your active loop. Let's do the active loop. 1, 2, 3, 4. Loop is set. Now let's bring in the next track. So as you can see there, using different patterns with these active loops, we can really swap out the drop that's incoming for our new track quite creatively. You can also elevate this slightly by adding in some effects on the build-up. So I've got this empty delay here, so if I play you that, you can see it adds even more drama. So now let's just take it a bit further, do the same transition, but add in that empty delay effect. So the track's building up, we need to get ready to loop. Loop set, trigger. We can even use a filter as well. bringing in this empty delay. And then we're going to get rid of it. And then right before the drop, just using that 4-beat active loop and bringing in the next track. In the next example, I'm going to switch back to a Flex 4 just to show you that even pro techniques can be done on beginner DJ equipment. Also remember to check out the free looping course in the comments and in the description. Okay, moving on to the pro technique. What we're going to do is we're going to talk about the tempo fader, we're going to talk about pitch, and we're going to use loop tightening as well. So we're going to use the same 2 tracks as before. We've got undulating and pump on deck number 2. Okay, so the difference with this technique is we're not going to use our memory cues, we're going to solely rely on the loop tightening. And to perform this, what we'll do is as this track's building up, we'll set a 4-beat loop, but then we need to change it to a 2-beat loop. And we're not just going to do it by shortening it, because we actually need to move the loop. So what I mean is, as this track's building up, 1, 2, 3, 4. So we've got a 4-beat loop, but I don't just want to halve it like this. What I want to do is actually change the loop to start here. So it says pump me up. So what we're going to do is, we're going to exit and set a 2-beat loop, and it happens quite quickly. So now we've got a totally different loop in a totally different place. So we're going to go through that again as it's building up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. We're going to exit. Pump me up. And we need to do that on beat as this track is building in. So that is the technique of where to set the loop. Then we're going to go one step further. We have the pitch set to +16, and we've got the master tempo off. Now that's important. Step number 1 though will be to hit this out button. Now we've got total control of this loop and the jog wheel to tighten this loop, and it's going to sound offbeat, but it's going to bring some amazing sort of drama and tension. So now the loop gets shorter and shorter, so we get this kind of noise. Then the reason we've got the master tempo off is because we want to increase the pitch. So now when I bring this tempo fader down, or increase the speed, you can see it's rising. We've created this riser effect. And then as it drops in, we can almost bring it down dramatically to create almost like a break effect. So all that put together is going to give us a really dramatic drop when this track comes in. So what we do is, as this track's building in, the first thing we have to do is set our 4-beat loop. So ready for the 4-beat loop, and then we're going to bring in our build-up. 1, 2, 3, 4. We've got that loop set. Now we can bring in our next track. Then on the next turn of phrase, I really want to change that loop of where it sits to a 2-beat loop. We've got the 2-beat set now. Press out. We're going to bring this down. Bring the fader up. and then just bring it down like that, creating immense drama, immense tension. And when that drops in a club, I've seen it time and time again, it gets an unbelievable crowd reaction, and it works every time. If you did want to take that technique further, you could maybe add a little reverb to that. You could set up the break effect on any DJ software so that when you stop it, it has a little... Just remember, every loop should have a purpose. Tension, creating a remix, or an unbelievable transition. And the best DJs practice these moments until they become second nature. If this looping tutorial inspired you, we break it all down in the free looping course in the description, including downloadable tracks and pro level routines. It's all in the description and the pinned comment. And if you loved this DJ tutorial, you probably love this one even more.